The topic of the current lecture is related to Rich Picture, a graphical tool used in order to understand the complexity of a certain situation. The lecture is divided into two parts. The first part introduces theoretical information about Rich Picture, and the second part presents the task, in other words, the homework that you need to do in week 3, which is accompanied by a set of instructions meant to assist you in the process of drawing a nice and complex rich picture. The presentation will focus on aspects such as a brief history of visual communication, what is a rich picture, characteristics of a rich picture, elements of a rich picture, why develop a rich picture, a set of general guidelines, and the last topic refers to the instructions that you need to consider when drawing your own rich picture. From the very beginning, we need to be aware that images have been used for communication throughout history. The earliest evidence of graphics dates around 40,000 years ago and consists in early cave paintings of men, animals, and simple hunting tools, while 8,000 years ago we start to see the development of the written language under the form of ideograms. As an example, Sumerians had some 2,000 separate signs used as early graphic writing techniques, and the Egyptians' hieroglyphics arguably are also dated from around this period. The North Semitic Syrian alphabet, containing 22 letters, has been named as the first phonetic alphabet, thus becoming the basis for Greek and subsequently all Western phonic written languages. The invention of the alphabet was a beautiful time because books were being published and beautiful illuminated manuscripts were presented as a piece of art 1,600 years ago. We can fast forward a bit more in time and we would reach the first printed book in 1455, the first photography in 1826, the first video camera in 1951, the first digital photography in 1981, and finally reaching the smartphone photography era nowadays. Among these examples of visual types of communication, the rich picture looks more like the drawings of our ancestors on the rocks and caves, but of course they are more complex due to the combination of symbols, images, and texts. The next two slides include some definitions of the rich picture tool. Thus, the rich picture can be defined as a cartoon-like picture drawn by a person or a group of persons about a real-world situation. And of course, it consists in picture, text, symbols, and icons, which are all used to illustrate graphically the situation. Other definitions given by Patching in 1990 refers to the rich picture as a pictorial summary of the actual situation in the systems world based on inquiries or observations of the real world. And Monk and Howard in 1998 defines the rich picture as a cartoon-like representation that identifies all the stakeholders, their concerns, and some of the structure underlying work context. Definition that brings us closer to the task that you are going to do this week. The most important characteristics of a rich picture refer to the fact that they are messy, unbounded, ill-defined, fuzzy, value-laden. They are interesting but difficult to deal with. They relate to systems involved with human activities, and they are concerned with what people do, more exactly on what it is done, rather than how it is done. The most important reasons to develop a rich picture are to explore a knowledge and define a situation, to open discussions and come to a broad shared understanding of a situation, to help participants understand the complexity of the entire situation, to identify the issues you wish to address, to develop an unstructured description of the situation where the issues lies, and finally, when constructed by a group of persons, the picture can capture the multiple perceptions that will exist among the individuals, allowing a consensus view to emerge. The elements of a rich picture can be of structure and key actors and roles in the situation. And here we may include the people, the setups, the hierarchy that may exist between actors and also institutions. We also have elements of process and interrelationships within the situation. And here we may include the activities, social roles, and quality of interactions that are going on. Of course, there are tensions and conflicts that can be included in your rich picture. And of course, there are also factual data about the situation, but also the subjective information that can be included in thought bubbles that can give a sense of some of the issues and concerns that key players are carrying. One important element of the rich picture can be even the introduction of your own person, because you need to consider yourself that you reflect a set of values, beliefs, and norms that color your perceptions. Of course, one of the most important questions remains how to do such a rich picture. And the answer is by using diagrams, symbols, cartoons, and words that can be drawn by hand. But of course, we need to pay attention to the fact that the picture should not structure the situation as in a logic model or process chain. As Williams and Hammelbrunner states, the whole point of a rich picture is to reflect as much going on as possible without privileging, predetermining, or presuming a particular point of view. In this image, you can see different symbols like those for groups, viewpoints, processes, arrows that show different flows. And we may say that over the years, a set of standard symbols have emerged. But as you can see in the next slide, in which you may find an example of a rich picture, in this case, we do not use standardized symbols, but the mental image of the drawer transposed freely and unstructured on the paper. It has no specific style, it is just instinctual drawing. For this reason, we may conclude that there is no process for drawing a rich picture, but a set of guidelines. And because we have reached this slide regarding the set of guidelines, we have also included a set of guidelines that will assist you in drawing your own picture. Okay, let's see here. We have the first guideline that it is about a rich picture being an attempt to assemble everything that might be relevant to a complex situation. You need to consider that a rich picture, it is never complete and it is just a snapshot in time. In order to help interpret a situation, you need to choose symbols, scenes, or images that represent the situation. You also need to use as many colors as necessarily. And of course, you need to avoid producing merely unconnected sets. You should also not seek to impose any style or structure on your picture. And it is important to place the elements on your sheet wherever your instinct prompts. At a later stage, you may find that the placement itself has a message for you. Avoid also too much writing, either as commentary or as word bubbles coming from people's mouths. If appropriate, include yourself into the picture as a participant or observer. And of course, in the end, it is important to give your rich picture a meaningfully descriptive title, to add your name and to capture the date. Now we have reached the final part of the lecture that consists in the task that you are asked to complete. Thus, you will need to identify the actors of your case study, of your product, and their roles, links, connections, actions between them. Please create a rich picture that illustrates the structure of your case study from a systemic perspective by including social, economic, environmental, cultural, technological, and political dimensions. The whole drawing process will include 3 stages, that is, preparation, creation, and wrap-up. And as your task to be completed successfully, we are providing you a set of instructions on how to draw your rich picture. During the first stage of preparation, please consider the following instructions. Take some minutes to reflect about the social, economic, environmental, cultural, technological, and political dimensions and related actors of your case study and take some notes. Take out a large piece of flip chart paper or brown paper, some color pencils and pens. Put the paper on a table or on the ground in a way that you can easily draw on it. Use the results of your systemic perspective approach reflection as a guide for developing the rich picture. Furthermore, we have also designed a checklist for creating the rich picture that you need to consider when fulfilling the task. So you need to consider not to structure your rich picture because you represent a complex situation, not only a problem. Drawing skills are not important. You can use your own style. It is about images, symbols, and icons. Use only few words if you can't express it in a different way. Capture culture, emotions, values, and interactions of the complex situation and its actors. Step aside, reflect, and add other points of view. A good rich picture works without your presence to explain. At the very end, you give a title, add your name, and capture the date. A rich picture is always a snapshot of the current moment. It is considered finished for now instead of finished. The second stage, that of creation, focuses on the actual drawing of the rich picture. For this reason, please consider the following structure. Draw the current situation. Start drawing, don't start thinking. Explain to yourself as you draw. Who are the stakeholders and how do they relate to the holistic situation? Draw the relations of stakeholders to each other. Draw the context, the causes and effects, and any other relevant social, economic, environmental, cultural, technological, and political dimensions. Make sure your drawing includes both facts and subjective information. You can use a legend or some words to explain stakeholders or issues, but do not use too many words. The last stage, that of wrap-up, consists in two moments. That of checking and adjusting your rich picture by asking yourself the following questions. Is this rich picture telling just one story, or is it rich enough to suggest lots of stories about what's going on? And the second question is, have I included everything I know about the situation in my representation of it? And of course, the second part is the reflection moment, and you need to answer to the following questions. Did I find any new insights about this complex situation and how to handle it? And what are the 5 main challenges of my case study arising from my rich picture about the food chain and related connections and actors and how to handle it? After you have finished the task, please share your reflection with the others in the discussion forum. Now it is your turn to get started. In case you have questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you for your attention.